who are watching us online and for those who will watch us later, greetings. My name is Alexander Villero. I'm Education USA advisor and also I'm an outreach coordinator. That's why you will see me this week very, very often. I will host several sessions that will help you to understand Education USA better, what we do, some details about the education in the States. So stay tuned on today. As I told you, we are going to talk about the Education USA itself, what we can offer you, what kind of programs we have, how we can help you, how our advisors can help you. We'll talk about financial aid. We will explain you how you can make the most of the resources that we offer. And to do this, we invited Alina Yakubov, one of the Education USA advisors. Alina, thank you very much for finding time for us and our audience. And the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for inviting me, let's say. Even though that was an agreement. So let's say that was agreed before.
Just because it was agreement, it doesn't mean that I cannot be thankful.
Okay, thank you so much, Sasha, that you are appreciating.
Yes.
Okay, hi everyone. I am super excited to welcome all of you to our today's session. Another week of some great webinars, which are going to be super helpful, I hope, for everyone who is intending to apply for studies in the US. So today we're going to discuss specifically about Education USA, because I'm more than sure that not everyone actually know how to use our resources, and I'll try to be as explicit as possible to explain you where you can find our services and where in your country you can locate an Education USA center. Okay, so in our today's agenda, we'll talk about how you can find us, what resources we are providing for the preparation process for your application. Then we'll talk about the special programs Education USA also offers, and we'll have some questions and answers at the end. And the guest speaker is me, Alina Yakubov. Okay, so guys, first of all, I would like to say that we are representing here Education USA Virtual, me and Sasha. So Education USA Virtual in particular offers a lot of information and promotes education in the United States. And on our website, you can find a lot of information, a lot of mocks, a lot of courses, which can help you in the preparation process also. But Education USA is a huge network. We have over 430 international student advising centers across more than 175 countries. That's a lot. And as I've mentioned before, we are promoting US higher education. We are providing accurate, comprehensive, and up-to-date information. And all that for free, guys. And we'll talk more about that in my presentation. Then on our Education USA virtual website, you can find a lot of virtual courses. You can find online events like this week's webinars dedicated to the admission process in the USA. We also have the courses, the mocks, a lot of interesting articles where you can find information about different types of scholarships, different types of programs which you can access for study in the US. Okay, and as I've mentioned before, we are having here interactive webinars. We are offering you useful resources and materials, information, courses, and we are here a community of like-minded individuals. So we are hoping that our community can grow a lot, and that's why we are doing these webinars, because we are considering that this is super important for all the students all around the world. Okay, so let's talk, as I've mentioned, about Education USA centers, because for someone that might be something super struggling because they wouldn't know how they can find a center in their country. So normally you can find that on our educationusa.state.gov website. That's our official website, and you can go on the region, in the location particularly, and you can look for the type of services that center is providing. There you can find already also the name of the advisors which are providing the consultations normally in that country, and selecting the region. It will also give you the address, the phone number, and the email address of that center specifically. So in that image, you can see how that looks on our official website. So I really hope that for those who aren't really really have no experience in looking out for a center, an EducationUSA center, it will give them more concrete information on how to do that. Okay, and what I have to say is that EducationUSA advising centers are located in different regions, as I mentioned, and normally those are located sometimes in U.S. embassies and consulates. We have a variety of partner institutions, including Fulbright commissions, binational cultural centers, also in U.S. non-governmental organizations such as Middle East and American consuls, and some foreign NGOs or universities or libraries. So as I mentioned on the website, it will give you exactly the address. It might happen that in some countries, those EducationUSA centers will be located in different cities, for example, and that's super helpful because then you can find your region and you can select the city that is closer to you. Okay, good. And what resources we are providing? I mean, you already know, I think, a lot about the fact that we are providing a lot of information about the studies in the US. But at the same time, for international students, our advising centers host group advising sessions, virtual advising, individual appointments, and pre-departure orientations, which are super, super relevant, not only for those who are attending their, graduate or undergraduate program, but maybe for some of those who are also intending to apply for an exchange program, for example. That can be also super, super helpful and super relevant. Okay, and one of the most important questions and one of the most frequent question which we are receiving from our students is how much the services provided by EducationUSA cost, because everyone got super impressed about the fact that we are offering a lot of consultations, a lot of services, and that's free, and that's definitely free, guys. So for our free of charge services, you can we are providing the following services, like regular introductory group sessions that introduce you to U.S. higher education system. You have access to the EducationUSA website for free. You have introduction to the advising library and access to basic reference materials. So it might happen that in a lot of EducationUSA centers, you can find a lot of materials that will help you to prepare for your test prep or for your or for your academic writing skills, or you can also get, like the pre-departure orientation sessions, or you can talk and you can get a consultation from an EducationUSA advisor. And for accredited U.S. colleges and universities, EducationUSA centers offered following for services free of charge, like information about international student mobility, information about local education system, and contact information and listings of local high schools and accredited or government-recognized universities, which is a super important thing for universities in the U.S. Okay, and in the same time, EducationUSA offers special programs which not a lot of students are aware about. And I must remark here, I must point on the fact that all those programs, which I will explain here, they are not available for all the countries. So you can get in touch with the EducationUSA advisor in your country and ask them if those programs are specifically available there. So one of the first program is the Opportunity Funds program. That's a super important program because in most cases, it covers a lot of costs for studies in the US. You can find more information about this program specifically on the US Embassy page in your country. But you can also reach your EducationUSA advisor in the region where you are, and they can also introduce you to more of that. And as I mentioned, not all the countries have access to this program. Then we have the EducationUSA Academy, which is also a super important program that prepares you for the studies in the US. We have MOOC Camp. We have EducationUSA Training Institutes. the Competitive College Club, which I think most of the students already know. That's a program that prepare undergraduate students for their path to the application process for studies in the US. And that's a super helpful program. I forgot to mention here also GSAP. That's a program that is designed for students who are graduates. So as I mentioned, it's not accessible to all the countries, but for those that it is, that's super, super important and helpful because it gives you a lot of information about some facts and about some steps you need to consider for the application process. And it introduces you to a lot of terms there. And during our webinars, we will touch this week a lot of terms, a lot of information about what you need to specifically consider if you are being an undergraduate student or a graduate student. Okay, good. So I think I'm done with the introduction of Education USA services. So if you guys have some more questions about them, you can leave them in our comment section, and I can answer them after our webinar. I can also do that. But I think we have other questions which Sasha have prepared for me, so I'm ready to ask.
Yes, get ready. So those people who are watching it, or as Alina said, if you will watch it later, leave the questions in the comments. If it's written right now, we will be able to answer them. If not, we will just answer them later in the written form. So, Alina, one of the main parts of Education USA is Education USA advisors. So, how will you describe the work with Education USA advisors? So, I'm a student. I'm contacting my Education USA center. How it is like to work with Education USA advisor? What kind of services specifically advisor can provide?
So as I mentioned before, in some countries we have a lot of advisors because the center of Education USA is a bigger one. In some countries we have just one representative, so it's just one advisor. So you need to understand in that situation that the advisor would have to organize his agenda. He would have to make an appointment with you. You can definitely reach him by email, and that will make you comfortable, just to meet with him in the days when he's also available, he or she. So our advisors are super instructed. They have a lot of information and actual and comprehensive information about the studies in the US. Normally, they can offer you a lot of information about preparation process and the steps you need to consider when applying for graduate and undergraduate programs. So yeah, we are trying to be as helpful as possible. The information is offered for free, as I've mentioned. In our centers, normally we have a lot of information and material that will prepare you for some of the most important parts of the application process, like essay writing, like how to do your letters of recommendations. We have a lot of courses, access to courses on Coursera, for example, a lot of books. We are also organizing some trainings with some other speakers, which can introduce you to some topics, such as how to get some good grades for TOEFL or for SAT, or how to be good in public speaking. So we are offering here a lot of information also on your soft skills developing. In some centers, you can also volunteer because sometimes the Education USA centers are connected with American centers or with American corners. And there, our CCCers can do some volunteering activities, and that's super nice. So I'm highly recommending you to find a center in your region and see what services they are providing in particular, because it differs from country to country. So you need to understand exactly what programs are actual there. But for sure, for all the centers, it's applicable to receive a lot of information about the application process, even that's going to be graduate or undergraduate.
So basically, people will be in good hands. But of course, don't get it twisted, because the main thing is for you to do. It's Education USA advisor, so they will not do the job for you. So pay attention to that.
Okay, yeah, we will guide you through the process. Yeah. Definitely, it's more about guidance, and you cannot get those skills actually for free nowadays. And that's one of the particularities that we are Education USA. We are offered information for free, and and all that is up to date because we we are in continuous correspondence with the universities, and we know the information that they are updating year by year. So I think that's super actual, considering, the market.
Exactly, I agree. I totally agree. And education in the States, it's not that cheap. So no matter what's your financial background, so it's better, to save some money and to be attentive to what people are saying, and specifically if that person is Education USA advisor. But okay, you said about a lot of things that Education USA can provide. Maybe you said it, maybe you didn't. Sorry for maybe just forgetting this. But is there a specific resource that will help a student or a parent, I don't know, whoever is using our services, to choose a perfect college or university using our website?
Yeah, I mean, definitely on our website, you can find a lot of information about life on American campus, a lot of information about the universities, about the scholarships which are offered sometimes by some universities. So yeah, it's a huge resource to go there. Normally for research for university, that's a huge, and that's it takes a lot of time to do the research, definitely. And we are highly encouraging the students to come with their parents in case for the first consultation, definitely it's highly recommended, because we can also explain the parent what his child is going to do during this preparation process, and that he's in good hands, as you said. And at this consultation, you are not offering only guidance to the student in particular, but also to the parent. So he will have a better perspective of what this path takes, because it takes a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of dedication. And here comes the help of the parent, because he needs to also support his child. He needs to understand that it might take a lot of time, a lot of resources, emotional resources, financial resources sometime. So definitely here comes the help of the advisor. He's describing how this can influence the life of the student, and in the same time the advisor gives a guidance on how to do this research, considering the preferences of the student and of the parent, because sometimes the preferences differ, the preference of parents and the preferences of the child. So here is also a lot of psychology, and here we are also trying to compile all this in a list where all these things can be considered together, and that's how you get your results. You get the final list with all the universities formed, with all the preferences you should consider. So yeah, I mean, it's better definitely to look on the website, research that on internet, but I think it's mostly applicable to also have a consultation with the advisor, so the parent and the child would be on the same on the same wave. They will understand both which resources of each they would have to give. So yeah.
Okay, and one of the most popular thing that I think is being asked, no matter where you're from, what kind of Education USA center are you asking? So could you please provide some insights into different types of financial aid and scholarships available for international students, and if they're available through Education USA?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to state one thing here. Education USA does not guarantee you the that you will be accepted to a US university. We are guiding you, as I was saying before, and we are offering you as much material as possible and resources as possible to prepare you for this application process. A huge part of that is your dedication and your interest. And sometimes, the student can come in his 9th grade to to a consultation with the advisor, and he can be super excited, but at the end of his 11th or 12th grade, he will be not so motivated. So that wouldn't make sense at that point. So yeah, it's staying motivated, and it's staying dedicated to your idea, to your dream. So about the financial aid, I mean, that's an information that it's not actual for every year, definitely, but we can mention here for undergraduate students the scholarships. We can mention here the need-based aid, the merit-based aid, the need-blind aid. And in our previous webinars, we've already explained in details what every of this scholarship and every of this type of financial aid would mean. So I'm highly recommending all the students who are now researching their financial aid opportunities to rewatch that webinar with my previous colleague, Aina. So you can find a lot of information on what you need to pay attention there. For graduate students, we know that that's normally the assistantships, and that's normally a lot of communication with the professor. So sometimes it's the research assistantship. Sometimes it's also the teaching assistantship. The research assistantship sometimes can be actual also for an undergraduate student. Even that's not going to happen from the first year or from his second year of studies. So all those things need a lot of explanation and a lot of introduction into that. So I'm recommending you to start with that webinar that we've already had with my colleague. And afterwards, you can contact your advisor and you can get more deep into that. I've previously mentioned that on our website, you can find a lot of information about scholarships which are available for different universities. So I'm highly recommending you to access educationusa.state.gov. And you'll have also a perception on how much of that can be financed and what type of financial aid are offered by a specific university.
Yes, and by the way, those webinars that Alina is talking about, you can find on our YouTube page, where most of you are watching us right now. So feel free to check all of the other videos, but only after this, because we are not done yet. One of the main steps for the education in the States is SAT and TOEFL. And so does Education USA support students in preparing for standardized tests such as SAT and TOEFL?
I would say preparing with resources, because that's definitely a part that, the preparation process comes from the student, because it depends also on the level of English that a student has at this moment. So as I mentioned before, we have a lot of books in our Education USA centers. We might offer you also webinars, online webinars, or also offline events in our Education USA centers, where we will invite some speakers, which can be, professors or teachers for GRE test or for SAT, TOEFL test. But I would recommend the students, when they are intending to take a test, such a test, to try to to do a sample of that. So just to take the test online, to see at what level he or she is, just to understand where he needs to prepare more. Because the good part is that for every section, those tests give you a specific score. So you will have a better understanding on what you need to work more, maybe on your math section, or your reading section, or in your listening section. And in the preparation process, definitely we are recommending you to get, some additional courses, maybe paid or unpaid. It's a lot of information that is offered for free nowadays, and you can definitely prepare yourself for free. But if there's a lot of things you have to work for this test, definitely you can get a teacher for this process. And I'm more than sure that advisors in all the countries will be able to offer you some suggestions on what centers you can address for the preparation process.
And speaking of the preparation process, and considering your experience, what are the most common challenges that students are facing during the application process, and how can Education USA maybe help a student with those challenges?
In my experience, I would say that this is motivation, because at the beginning, everyone is super motivated, and everyone would say like, yes, I have a dream. I want to go to US. I watched so many movies and I love American life. But in reality, it's another thing. When you are coming to an Education USA advisor and he's trying to explain you that, hey, you need to consider this step, that step, and this and that, will be like, okay, it's not actually what I thought it would be. So yeah, it's a lot of dedication, a lot of motivation. I know you might get pissed about these words, but that's reality. You should be really aware about the fact that motivation and dedication creates 80% of the results that you'll get. Then yes, then let's consider that this is luck, this is And of course, it's your personality, your talents, and all the application package in total. But one of the first thing is motivation. I think that's one of the greatest challenges that the students are facing, because without that you cannot really finish your application process. You cannot really finish anything in this life without motivation. So yeah, so guys, try to work on your motivation, on your soft skills, on your emotional intelligence, on your yes, on your empathy. It's definitely a huge work on yourself. And when you're succeeding to do that, there comes the win. There comes the approval from the university. In that application, they can see how motivated you've been and how much you've worked.
And to stay motivated is just, it will be way more easier if you will just be surrounded by people who are also motivated. There's a little bit of competition, there's a little bit of sharing the information and becoming a part of Education USA, just as a participant who is benefiting from the services that Education USA is providing all around the world. I think this will help your motivation, because you will see those people who are trying to do the same thing. Sometimes it might not work, as we said, because the competition is very high, and sometimes it's your year, sometimes it isn't. But seeing those examples, because for example, we had several stories where people were not accepted for the first year and then they got next year, or they applied several times and they got there. So staying motivated is really important, but it's way easier when you're surrounding yourself with motivated people. So Education USA is that place for sure. So definitely consider pay attention more to Education USA. Obviously, since you are here, you probably already know about us, but it means that you need to share this video with those who might be interested in the studying in the States. Or maybe, as Alina said, maybe they will find out that education in the States is not for them and it's not like in movies. There can be different stories about behind that. And so for that, feel free to share this video, leave a comment if we haven't asked your question. We will get back to you in a written form. And for now, Alina, I'm thanking you so much for your time and expertise. I hope we answered most of the questions here. And for now, I think, oh, by the way, don't forget that this whole week we're together until Friday. I will connect with different Education USA advisors and we will talk about so many different subjects. And don't forget, all of the events that we are talking about, you can find on myeducationusa.online. Every event is there. You can find and subscribe to register to all of the events so you will not miss a single stream. And yeah, that's it for now. Thank you so much for being with us. Once again, Alina, thank you so much. Maybe just say goodbye
Thank you,
to our
Sasha.
audience.
Thank you guys for watching us. I really hope that was super useful and helpful.
Mhm.
And that's a huge and an important start for our for this week's webinar. So I think it's a
Yep.
good start, Sasha. Good
Yeah,
luck.
we did it.
We did it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And
Thank
yes,
you.
bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.